Now I'm going to add something that we've discovered has worked very effectively. One thing we're about in our coaching is creating accountability in the practice. Naren, because we don't have the ability to have a two-way communication with our listeners right now, I'm going to have to make an opinion. It's my opinion that every single one of our listeners, 100%, now I'm going out on a limb here because rarely is something always or never,
Yes.
but I'm going to take a guess and say this is always. I'm going to guess that 100% of our listeners would like to have greater accountability in their practice. And if I'm wrong on that, please send me an email. If you're that stray doctor that says, I don't need accountability, maybe we'd like to interview you for a future episode. So send me an email. And I'd love to hear from you. But I think it's safe to say that every one of our listeners would like to have greater accountability. And one of the ways that we can do that, I don't meet very many practices where team members are asking for more responsibility. Do you think that's common where team members are asking for more work?
Correct. No, I don't think so.
What do we usually hear on the other side?
It's too much work. I don't want to do more. I mean, for example, Gary, you know this. We listen to phone calls for mutual clients, and one of the services you provide for all the clients is, tell them how well they're answering the phone. And a lot of times, the phone is answered in such a way till they start getting your training and coaching. It's almost like the team member answering the phone doesn't want a new patient. It's almost like new patient is a nuisance. Of course, that's not what the doctor believes, but like, the tone of voice, not welcoming, not being, kind and, building a rapport, like you're like,
empathetic.
What's going on here? And I think maybe it's because, unless they are passionate about their job, they're into their job, a lot of people just check it in. And I hate to say it. And checking it in is just doing the bare minimum. So like, yep, I answer the phone. I'm done.
And I think it goes back. There hasn't been much training.
Yeah.
Doctor hasn't provided much training.
Yeah.
They don't have a regular forum for meetings and for communication.
Yeah.
They don't have ways of setting standards. They don't have SOPs, standard operating protocols in place. For example, we teach a system of 24 systems.
Yes.
And as I said before, no one wants more work in the practice, whether it be an administrative team member, a hygienist, an assistant, an associate doctor. Nobody wants more work, but they would all like to be more effective. So I've adopted some language that I like to use because I think it helps you think about it in a different way. And one of the pieces of language I like to use is to assign in our systems. We have 24 systems. We'll have a systems champion. And that systems champion is responsible for guiding the practice and getting that system completely buttoned down so it performs as it should. For example, one of our systems is to grow the whitening component of the practice, the whitening. We set individual goals based on the practice history of whitening. And if you're a regular listener to the Private Dentist Show, you know I'm a fan of whitening because it's a gateway service. It's a gateway that leads to more interest in their teeth, more interest in their mouth, and it creates better patients. And it gives them what they want. Naren, I think a common business axiom is give customers what they want. In a recent survey, asked of 6,000 Americans walking on the street corner in downtown Chicago, if there was one thing you could do to change your smile, what would it be? 85% said they'd like, wait for it, whiter teeth.
Yes.
85%. So imagine a system that supports that. And we assign a systems champion. And I always tell the team, whether it's my own team at Life Smiles or my coaching clients' teams, if we're looking for a systems champion and it's something that you like, raise your hand. Raise your hand. If it's something you like, if you're someone that loves whitening, loves the whole concept of whitening, loves talking about whitening, then raise your hand because that can be yours. If I don't get any volunteers, we're going to assign someone, and I might assign you to something that isn't your favorite thing. So if it's something you like, raise your hand. So now imagine we have a whitening champion. Maybe it's an assistant that says, I really love whitening. I always talk to my friends about, she's got, white sparkling teeth. And maybe we set a goal in the practice, Naren, that is to do 10 whitening procedures a month. And I'm just making up a number, 10. Certainly, if it was a practice that historically been doing more than that, we'll set that to be more than that. But if it's an office that's been kind of piddling with whitening, they do one every once in a while. The average number of whitenings, let me give you some data, Naren. Most practices in the country, over 95%, offer some sort of whitening. But do you know, of those 95% of the practices that offer whitening, do you know what the average number of whitening procedures per month is across those practices?
Not sure, Gary.
1.2.
Wow.
1.2 whitening procedure a month. Woohoo! Wait, did anyone hear my sarcasm in that? Yeah. 1.2 isn't getting it. So let's say we set a goal to do 10. Now, the whitening champion, it doesn't mean that she is the one that does all the whitening. Doesn't mean that at all. It just means that she's the one that keeps that project front and center in the practice. She's the one that makes sure we have our supplies. She's the one that has evaluated the different systems we offer for whitening. Little detail, I like offering 3 forms of whitening. I like offering a chair-side solution, something like Zoom or Boost from Ultradent. I like offering a custom trays with a solution that they can use at home, a take-home solution. I like the Ultradent product a lot, Opalescence, a great product for that. And then a third option I like is some sort of over-the-counter whitening option. I do like offering an over-the-counter option that isn't available in stores. And because of that, I like the Ultradent Go product. Dan Fisher, the doctor that founded Ultradent, did a very noble thing. He had an opportunity to distribute Go in Walmarts and Walgreens, and he chose not to sell them in Walmart and Walgreens. You know why he did that, Naren? Why would you guess he did that?
Not sure, Gary. No.
He wanted whitening to be professionally supervised in a dental office. So if you could just go to the store and get it, they're not going to the dentist. He wants people to go to the dentist. He's a dentist. So he wants people to go to the dentist. So he turned down the contract from Walmart and Walgreens and said, no, we're going to distribute this in dental offices. I think that was a very noble move. But those are the 3 forms of whitening. And truth be told, I like having a chair-side solution, but it isn't my favorite option because it's an hour and a half of dedicated chair time and dedicated assistant time. But I do like take-home trays. Think about how much time the team has in take-home trays. Maybe 10 minutes to take an analog impression. How much time do we have in the Go product? No chair time. We have 30 seconds of handing them a box and explaining them how to use it. It's super easy. And that's it. But now our team member who's a champion is responsible for that. For making sure we have the product, making sure that our assistants know what to do, making sure the whitening's on top of mind for our hygienist, and we're taking a shade match at the beginning of the hygiene appointments, reporting regularly in the morning huddles. Hey guys, our goal is 10 whitening procedures a month. That's 2.5 a week. Last week we did 3. Way to go. We're on track. Or maybe she announces in the morning huddle, hey guys, heads up. We didn't do any whitening last week. Let's get back on the horse. Let's do that. So now let me tie this into the topic of this podcast. Managing your practice in less time with better results. Schedule periodic check-in meetings with your whitening champion, with your champions. And again, imagine all the different variation of champions we could have. We could have a marketing championing in your practice who's responsible for coordinating all the marketing. We can have a cash flow champion, someone who's responsible for all the different ways that we collect, whether it be from the patient or from the insurance company. And now imagine having individual check-in meetings. And let me give an example of how a check-in meeting might go. It's a short meeting. It's less than 5 minutes. It's one-on-one, doctor, with you and the champion. So imagine we have our whitening champion. And imagine that in the first month, our goal was to do 10 whitening procedures. And imagine that we not only hit that goal, but we exceeded it. We did 12. Then the check-in meeting is going to be a really positive meeting. You're going to compliment her on not only achieving the goal, but exceeding it. You're going to talk about how great a job she's doing in terms of keeping it front and center in the practice. You're going to compliment her on all the great things that are happening. On the other hand, if we're not achieving the goal, then the check-in meeting has more to do with correcting things, making minor mid-course corrections to get where you want to go. And you're going to provide resources, and you're just going to let her know that this is something that is a project that you're going to stick with. It's not something you're going to drop because you're not interested in it. And you schedule those. And every time you finish a check-in meeting, schedule the next one. So if it's something that you need to maybe mid-course correct a little bit, maybe the next check-in meeting is 2 weeks from now, and it's a 5-minute meeting. If everything's going well, maybe the check-in meeting is something that happens every month. But think about managing your practice with short check-in meetings with team members who are accountable for the results of whatever project that they are a champion for. And that's what I mean by managing your practice in less time with better results, And it's very focused. It's very specific. You're complimenting or correcting. You're providing resources. You're communicating. You're asking is there anything you need from me? Is there anything that I could provide that would make your results better? What support do you need from the team? And it's a really cool way to manage your practice. Now, imagine that scaled across all the different projects that you're doing in the practice. Imagine that you have a champion for taking the 6 digital photos for patient education. You know, Dr. Frank Spear teaches the 6 digital photo. Imagine you have a champion for that. And imagine all the different ways you could have a champion in your practice, and you can manage it by overseeing it with very short individual check-in meetings. And in a nutshell, that's the concept of how to manage your practice in less time with better results. Darren, what do you think?
I love those ideas, Gary. And I know this is something you do with your clients, and your team works with these champions to make sure everything is going on track, right? Because that way the dentist can do dentistry, which is what most dentists love to do, while your team, along with these champions, focus on all the, like, making sure the wheels are turning, all the wheels are turning at the right speed.
They're turning, the axles are greased, we've got everything we need. And yes. You know, doctor, if you want to think about this, maybe you're a practice that would like to grow the aligner component of your practice, the Invisalign or clear aligner component of your practice. Maybe you have an Invisalign champion in your practice. Now, I think I just got a lot of attention from a lot of our listeners. As I think a lot of our listeners might want to be growing, that component. And imagine having a champion who's accountable and responsible for those results.